We talk about the green jacket. We talk about Amen Corner. We talk about the pimento cheese sandwiches that somehow cost less than a bottle of water. But when you ask the guys who have actually walked those sacred grounds, the champions, the legends, the guys who have a key to that locker room, what their favorite Masters tradition really is, the answer might surprise you, because it's not the trophy. It's not the trophy ceremony. And it's not even the golf. Golfweek just dropped their annual Masters survey, and they asked a loaded question to some of the biggest names in the game. What is your favorite tradition at Augusta National? And the answers cut deeper than you'd expect. Let's run through the list because it tells you everything about what this tournament actually means to the players. Ludvig Aberg, one of the new young guns, went with the no phone rule, the pure silence, no distractions, just golf and nature. Keaton Bradley, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele, JJ Spound, all of them pointed to the par 3 contest, not because it's easy, but because it's the one day where the families come first, where kids get to caddy, where laughter replaces tension. Harris English said it best. Before he had kids, he didn't get it. Now, he looks forward to it more than anything. But there was one tradition that kept coming up from the guys who have actually worn the jacket. Curtis Strange brought up the honorary starters, the moment when legends like Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tom Watson walk to that first tee and send a shot into history. Gary Player himself called it deeply emotional. He said millions around the world watch them for just one single shot. One shot that represents everything. Jack Nicklaus didn't hesitate wearing the green jacket, the symbol, the ultimate prize. And then there was the overwhelming favorite, the Champions Dinner. Over and over, these guys said the same thing. Craig Stadler called it the best. He said he doesn't see those guys any other night of the year. Ricky Fowler admitted he hasn't even been a part of it yet, but he said that's the one you want to be invited to. Trevor Immelman, Zach Johnson, Wyndham Clark, Padraig Harrington, they all circled back to that Tuesday night dinner. Now, here's why this matters. We spend so much time analyzing swing paths and betting odds that we forget what actually makes the Masters different from every other tournament on earth. The Champions Dinner is not a sponsor event. It's not a media obligation. It's a fraternity, a closed-door gathering of the only men in the world who have solved the riddle of Augusta National. It's where Jack Nicklaus sits next to a guy like Mike Weir, where Tiger Woods, if he's healthy enough to attend this year, will break bread with Scottie Scheffler and Jon Rahm. And here's the part that gets overlooked. Padraig Harrington gave a perspective that hit different. He said back in Ireland, growing up, the Masters wasn't just a tournament. It was the moment the golf season started, they got 12 hours of the Open coverage. But the Masters, they got 3 hours, just the back 9 on Sunday. And that was it. That was the signal that winter was over and it was time to play. That's the weight this tournament carries, not just in Georgia, globally. So what's the deep takeaway here? The survey reveals that the players value the human moments more than the competitive moments. They're not naming their favorite birdie or their favorite putt. They're naming the dinners, the practice rounds with friends. The winking 90-year-old honorary starter, the moment they get to drive someone down Magnolia Lane for the first time in their own car. This is a strategic reminder that Augusta National has built something that no other major can replicate. It's not just a golf course, it's a time capsule, and the traditions aren't gimmicks. They're the reason guys like Curtis Strange still laugh about something Jock Hutchinson did 40 years ago. Now, the fan reaction to this survey is going to be interesting. You're going to have one group that loves the nostalgia, the purists who say this is why the Masters is the best week in sports. They'll point to the par 3 contest, the no phone rule, the silence, the simplicity. Then you'll have the other group, the ones who say the traditions are outdated, that the exclusivity is part of the problem, that the Champions Dinner is cool, but it's for the 1% of the 1%, and the rest of us are just watching from behind the ropes. But here's what both sides can agree on. The Masters knows exactly what it is, and the players who get to experience it know exactly what they're protecting. So let's look at 2 scenarios for how this plays out moving forward. Best case scenario, the traditions hold, the game embraces the history while opening the doors just enough to let the next generation in. We get more moments like the honorary starters. We get more champions like Ludvig Aberg who appreciate the silence. The Masters remains the one week where golf feels sacred. Worst case scenario, the pressure to modernize wins. The no phone rule gets challenged. The par Three Contest becomes more about sponsorship than family, and the Champions Dinner loses its intimacy because it becomes just another media checkpoint instead of a private gathering of champions. Now, here's the question I want to throw to you. If you had a seat at the table, if you got to walk through those gates, what's the one Masters tradition you'd want to experience for yourself? Is it watching the honorary starters hit that first tee shot? Is it sitting in on the Champions Dinner? Or is it something nobody talks about, like walking the course before the gates open? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to stay locked in on everything happening at Augusta leading into the biggest week in golf, hit that subscribe button, because the traditions are what make it great. But the stories behind them, that's what we're here for.